It's not just talk, it's business travel talk. For the latest and greatest on all things business travel, go to businesstraveltalk.com. I have my friend Sharon Pear here with me, the Director of Partnerships over at High Road Solutions. Miss Sharon, would you share with us what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask you about your greatest accomplishment thus far in your career?
I'm probably going to use a more recent one. So the role that I'm in now was not here when I got here. And this company's been here for about 20 years. And so it's a partnerships role. And Benjamin, I know you're really good at this, but it's really all about relationships. And, when they asked me to come on board and help build a partner program, I was like, what is that? Now I've been here for 5 years. And one of the nice things about this role is, yes, it's about relationships, but it's also about finding out how those relationships in your ecosystem, whether it's mine, whether it's yours, in anybody's industry, how to turn it into a growth engine. And so we've really seen that, especially in the last year and a half, that a lot of our pipeline is influenced from those relationships that I've been able to nurture for some time. So,
I think that I must have a type because so many of my guests on the show always emphasize the importance of relationships and their network. And that makes my heart so happy because relationships, especially as AI continues to take more and more of a precedence
Mhm.
in our society, the human relationships that we cultivate and develop are so fundamentally important. I don't think you know this, but you were a catalyst for me to be the title that I have today with Driven as the
Yep.
partnership and brand manager. It was the same day we spoke and you had planted that seed. I got a call from our executive director and now here we are.
I honestly remember that day. I was in Manhattan in Hell's Kitchen, Columbus Circle area. And I remember you gave me a call and, I know we had met, we clicked right away. And again, like you are a very relationship driven guy too. And I remember saying to you, what are you up to these days? It's like you're doing PR for the brand. You're doing this, you're doing that. And I said, have you, considered, your new title yet? And I think you made the suggestion and here we are. And I think we have similar titles now.
Two peas in a pod.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would like to give you this opportunity to kind of introduce yourself to our viewers. So, who are you beyond the title?
This is tough because I think I might have mentioned to you, I kind of loathe talking about myself.
Too bad.
I know, too bad. That's what I'm here for, right? But obviously, my name is Sharon. I live in Washington, D.C. by way of Florida, born and raised. Beyond LinkedIn, I do love to travel a lot when I can. Obviously, I do a lot for business, which is probably why you invited me onto this podcast. But I try to couple that with a personal trip every time there's a business one. So it's kind of like a give and take. If I do a professional business trip, there's probably a personal one attached to it on the front end or on the back end. I love to spend time with my family and friends. That's always the most important thing to me. And then I do have a guilty pleasure, but I really love shopping.
So, in your role today as the director of partnerships, what is it that excites you? And we know it's the relationships you have with people, but really, like, what is it that makes you so excited to go to work on a regular basis?
It's because I get to talk to people that I really like. It's almost like all of the partners that I work with are an extension of my workplace. And
Mm.
so, yes, I have my coworkers at High Road Solutions, but most of the conversations I'm having, 70% of the time, every day, are with my partners. And they're with people that I really like. And I learn so much from them, either from a professional standpoint and learning from them, or just from a personal level too. And so I get to have fun at my job. And so that's one thing that I really look forward to. I think I'm very, very privileged to be able to work with people I like. It's really important.
I've definitely been in positions where they're not people I would handpick to choose to spend time with,
Right.
and people that I do. And you're one of the individuals I would certainly handpick to spend my time with. You've built relationships as technology has continued to grow and evolve in all of our lives. But as someone who's so focused on human-centered relationships and connecting with the other individual in an authentic way, what's something that you think might be misunderstood about the human connection as technology continues to take more of a precedence in our lives?
I think the thing that's misunderstood about the human connection is all of it. I think that people are enabling AI a little bit too much in their lives, and they're forgetting truly the human element, because here at the end of the day, and I'll give you an example. We work with HubSpot. We love HubSpot. We trust HubSpot. And there's a lot of AI elements that they've built in to just make your life so much easier. But at the end of the day, so there's an agent that we run when we're doing some of our prospecting. It is awesome. But before we just auto send all of these things out to, people unbeknownst to them, we still have to check it to make sure that it's correct. And guess what? 99.9% of the time it still is, but I still have to insert myself or, our account executive or our programming person. We still go back to just make sure there's not something funky that maybe we might have missed in the configuration, because we are humans, there are errors. But guess what? Like the machines, they can make mistakes too. And so we trust it, but maybe at 99.9%, that makes sense.
My dad always has a saying, and I learned it when I was a little boy learning how to drive. And I was going to cross traffic, and the oncoming car had their turning signal on. And I was about to pull out. My dad said, wait, there's a car. And I said, but their turning signal's on. And my dad said, trust, but verify. Make sure that car's going to actually make that turn before you just pull up, because it could have just left its turning signal
That's
on.
right. Okay, I love that. You know what? I love that, especially for AI. Trust but verify. That is
Yep.
a great metaphor. I'm going to have to steal that from you and use it somewhere, but I'll make sure you get the trademark too.
Oh, well, my dad watches these, so Dad, you're welcome.
And thank you over here.
So, Sharon, technology, as we said, is growing and evolving, and certainly there are more roles and positions that are being filled within technology. But women are still the minority as far as individuals working within this field. And you're a leader in your own right, and we'll talk about leadership on our final question. It's my favorite question. But I'm curious, as a woman who is in a leadership role, have you found yourself leading differently because of that, being treated differently or seeing things differently? Or do you think that has not played a part in your leadership or experience?
I think it's a great question. I think that women are still underrepresented in the technology space just as a whole. I think the numbers are something like 30% or something like that. I've got in our space, there's probably about 100 or so, maybe a little bit less, of technology partners that built these like specific CRM systems for our industry called AMSs. And just to give you an idea of the numbers, I think only one of them is owned by a woman.
Oh my
right?
God.
Yes, just one that I know of. Somebody who is front, who is center, who's doing the, who's in there and has their hands dirty. So I think just based on those stats, you can tell that it's a very male-dominated industry. As a woman working in a male-dominated space, I've kind of had to insert myself in places where typically women won't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up golf, and I'm going to use that as an example.
Oh, wow.
Right. I've always played golf, but just for fun. And, when I realized that a lot of the business decisions and even chitter chatter and insights, intel, gossip, was going on, I said, well, I think I need to come out there and, learn some golf. But that's how I was like, I can stand up to them too. And I can go out and go play around the golf in a foursome also.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a lot of fun, and it has been a learning experience. But, again, I think I am very blessed that yes, it's a male dominated field in my industry here. But we've all figured out a way to really work together. And later on in the conversation, I'll tell you what has really helped in getting some of these, men in the industry become our allies too.
What a perfect example of a way that you as a female has stepped into the man's world, if you will, at Gentlemen Only, Ladies Forbidden.
I mean, here's the thing, and you live in Vegas, you've got some of the greatest courses, you've got the TPC out there. I'm sure you can just go out, buy the course somewhere, and most of the people that are out there are still a bunch of dudes. Again, nothing wrong with it. We all try to find our spaces to do the things that we want to do, but sometimes it's kind of like you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, but I love that you know TPC as well. I used to go to a meeting there once a week. So back to tech, you mentioned AI, and I feel like everybody today is talking about AI to a point. I mean, for a while it was like sustainability, and then DEI. Now it's AI. And I'm curious, as someone who's in this every day, what is something that you specifically are most excited about when it comes to the integration and development and the takeover of artificial intelligence?
So, I've got mixed feelings about certain things or stuff on the back end of it that, you know, from an environmental perspective, I'm like, oh, can we pump the brakes a little bit? Right. But from what it can do for us as people who use it, it's an accelerator. And whatever you can do, AI can do it faster. And so I think it's enabling a lot of the folks to focus on the things that they really want to, the things that they really care about. I'll let them, do the cumbersome tasks that might take 5 hours of my day. And that way I can really focus on whatever strategy it is you want to, maybe your passion project, whatever it is. I think that's one of the really, really great bright sides of AI is.
I would love to do another interview with you to talk about the sustainability portion of this because it's terrifying.
It's really terrifying. I did do a podcast last year with the executive director of one of the water conservation societies. And just to drop a fact, and I think maybe we've gotten to a better point because again, it's been changing so fast, but they said every query you make is 3 bottles of fresh water for every query. So even if you're like, thank you, and it responds as you're welcome, that's just fresh water.
When they take over the world, like I need them to know that I was nice and polite to them.
Correct. Yes, that you said your please and thank yous.
There's been a few times I've had some choice words for AI, and I'm like, that's going to come back to haunt me. I know it. I'm sorry. If you're listening now, I'm sorry. If someone were to spend a day with you, if they were going to shadow you, what's something that they might find surprising about being in your shadow for a day?
They're probably going to think I'm just talking to people all day, just like shooting the crap around, but it's really not that. That's all part of relationships. It's not like, oh, let me just like email this person once a month, like just to check in and gauge their temperature. It's about really, I think if they sat down with me, they're like, oh my gosh, like people are calling Sharon for this, Sharon's calling people for that. So I'll give you an example, So I came from an in-person lunch with one of my partners, talk work, we talk about, how his kids are doing, his recent trip to, to Asia and all that stuff. But we're really, at the end of the day, we're helping each other out. We're keeping each other top of mind because there are opportunities where both of us can, maybe lob a referral to each other so we can help each other's businesses grow. But I also believe in healthy ecosystems. So what does that mean? I think sometimes it just goes above and beyond just what your job description is. And it goes into, hey, Sharon knows a lot of people in her network. Who can she connect that person with to help that person along in their journey of whatever the next part of their career is? And I think keeping a healthy ecosystem is more than just like, here's a business lead. I think it's connecting the right people together. If you think it makes sense, I think it's sending a job description because you heard somebody who's looking for a new job. And this is like just little things every day that I'm doing that might not seem like it's part of the job description, but it very much is because
You are a relationship person, aren't you?
I'm really trying. I'm really trying. If I can
So
do
is
that in my
it,
personal life and apply the same thing, then, you know,
isn't it funny how that works? We can help
it
everyone else's relationships, but our own.
exactly. And I think it's probably because we give the professional one 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like I completely see you. Two, like I said earlier, two peas in a pod. As you grew into the director of partnerships role, you were with High Road Solutions prior to this role, right? So you were kind of helping with the partnership program, maybe without that title necessarily. I want to know, and I'd like for you to clarify any of this, but prior to your role currently, what were you doing, and was that preparing you to be where you're at right now?
As we started to really build the program out and make a lot of things repeatable and scalable for a lot of the partners, I mean, you know, thank goodness I have a really great head of programming that has helped me like execute a lot of this stuff. You know, there's things now that we didn't have before where we have portals where our partners can go to so that way they can get all the resources that they need. I think just kind of reducing the friction for them has really helped. You know, but then there's a lot more responsibilities that have started to kind of fall under it too. And, you know, I send communications out, you know, to all of our partners, to all of the reps at HubSpot. You know, I do events, you know, for all of our partners. So there's a lot of things that just started to be not just the relationship part, but just more a more overarching, you know, almost kind of like a PR play for High Road, if that makes sense.
So I kind of want to shift a little bit, and I've never asked this question before, and I think it'd be really unique to ask you because you are so passionate and you are a leader. If there were a young woman who came to you and she said, "Hey, Sharon, I want to have a job in technology." What would your response to her be? What would the words of wisdom or caution be to that young lady?
So if there was a young woman who approached me today about technology and she said, "Hey, I'm considering a career in technology," I would tell her not to hesitate. I would tell her that obviously the world has been moving in this direction for a very, very long time. I don't think that there is an industry that it doesn't touch. And I say that because one of my really good friends, she's a hairdresser. And you would think that, you know, hairdressers would not be impacted by the technology at all, but they are too. And AI is coming also. And so, for example, I went to go get my hair done on Monday night, and I was watching my hairdresser has been my hairdresser since 2010, by the way. So a long,
Okay.
long time. And something new that I saw that she had is she had her iPads attached to a scale. And so it's like this digital measurer for, you know, mixing colors and stuff like that, which before was just like, she's an expert. She honestly, because she's so good at this, she only needs to use her eye.
Mhm.
But it's almost like a trust and verify factor.
Okay.
And
Oh,
yep, see,
okay.
yep. And it was interesting because I never noticed it until on Monday night. And so I already know AI is coming for them too, but technology touches every industry. And so I would say you should consider it. And there's no reason for you not to be able to dominate in a room full of men.
Can you
Yep.
say that louder for those sitting in the back? We're all here to
And of
play.
course, no offense to you, of course, Benjamin, but you know,
There's none taken.
yeah.
Just a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
One of them, particularly because I feel so comfortable with you, I'd like to ask, has there been a challenge in your career as you've been evolving and growing into your role today that in hindsight, you're very thankful that you had to face that challenge?
Challenges today in my position that I think helps me professionally and even personally. I think alignment, just alignment externally and internally in the position that I'm in is very challenging. And sometimes just, you know, you have to get buy-in from so many different groups in order for everyone to get along and be able to play. And so I'm constantly playing this middle man, middle woman, whatever you want to call it, trying to get my team all on one page, getting another team on another page. So that way we can all be on the same page. And truly, it's a very challenging thing because sometimes that can take so much time, especially if it's a partner you're just trying to explore things with,
Mhm.
right? Like it could take some time. However, once you get over that hump and you've kind of figured out how things are going to work out, I think it moves so smoothly after all of that rough stuff. But the alignment initially is always really tough. It's really challenging. But again, I think it helps me personally and professionally, just in terms of like, you know, trying to ask for something that I want, even,
Yeah.
because it's what I have to do for my day-to-day job.
Thank you for that. What every time we
Mhm.
talk, you always just drop something that I needed. And I'm kind of going through something similar right now. So I appreciate
Mhm.
that wisdom. And it makes me feel like this is part of the process.
Yeah,
And we'll come out on the other side okay.
exactly. And everything always ends up working out. And if it doesn't, it just wasn't meant to be ours, right?
So I only have two more questions for
Okay,
you.
let's do
Both of
it.
them, and I'm so excited for the last one. But before I ask that, I always like to give an opportunity to ask the guest on the show, is there something that I didn't ask you that you really wish that I would have? Something on your mind that you'd love to convey, and I just didn't quite give you the opportunity.
Maybe the discussion around just the industry that I support, because not everybody understands associations. And I might have mentioned earlier, I met somebody who their members were OpenAI, AWS, and Google. But there's so many different industries that we support in the association space. And again, I think that's why some of them are so different from the next one, because on the other side of that one association that has these super technologically advanced corporations that are members, we ourselves have a client where 70 to 80% of their members only have a flip phone. So that'll give you only so many guesses of the type of, group that 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 association might have.
Mhm.
And so I think there's this big gap, but associations are, what I will say about the association space is that all of these different members come together because they have a shared interest for whatever mission they're all serving.
It's almost like you've identified a niche, and that niche is really serving a greater good
Yep.
in a multitude of ways. Sharon, as I said earlier, you are a leader. You are someone that I look up to. I respect you, and you are making power moves left and right. That is, well, I'm not going to tell you what I feel. So, as far as leadership, and you clearly are, where did you get that? Were you born with that? Did you learn that? Was it professional? Was it family? Where did you get your leadership ability?
I'm still working on it, I would say. Um, but, you know, because I needed a lot of support in this, world of technology that I'm in, I'm part of a group called Association Women Technology Champions. They're a 501c3, and they were founded, I think, maybe a year or two before the pandemic. And it's a lot of the consultants in our space that are all women, that provide a safe space for women in technology, whether they're championing it or they're in it, to be able to ask the dumb questions that they want to ask. And so they put on a few events a month, whether it's virtually, in person, to make sure that all the women have all the tools in their arsenal available. So that way, when they are up against a male counterpart, they could win that opportunity. They can win that conversation. And now they do uh, an annual awards ceremony to honor some of the best in the industry on the association side and on the vendor side. But it's really remarkable to see that they're, again, creating a space for women to be able to further develop any of those skills and technology and just get better at it by the day. So I would say that that is one place where I have gained confidence, to be able to be where I am today. So I will give AWTC a shout out this afternoon.
Truly remarkable, because again, you are an outlier when it comes to leadership in this ecosystem, technology, and just overall. I'm so proud to know you, Sharon. How can our viewers and audience get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my LinkedIn. So we'll go back on LinkedIn. You can find me there. And if you look up Sharon Paré, I think it's linkedin.com. Is it / Sharon Paré? You should be able to find me. You can find me through Benjamin's contacts as well. You should be able to find me there as well, unless there's another Sharon Paré out there that I don't know about. And you can also find out about Highroad at highroadsolutions.com.
I love it. And also shame on me for saying Sharon Pear this whole time.
Don't worry.
Is there an accent over the E?
Yeah, there's a tilde over the E, and most of the time the computer won't take the tilde over the E. So I sometimes have to take it out.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Don't
well,
worry.
tisk.
No, I did that all through college and even into my professional career. And actually, it was somebody at AWTC who said, I didn't know that's how you said your last name. Why don't you correct anybody? And I said, well, it doesn't bother me. And she's like, but that's your name. And I said, you're right. And so ever since then, I, made sure the tilde over the E is there. So.
Okay, well, moving forward, as of today, Sharon Paré. Oh,
Yes,
that's like so.
you.
Okay. All right, Sharon. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Honored to be on the podcast.